Lament of the Boston Bruins. Man, once again, just as I predicted, your old buddy Josh, the Bruins just let us down. It's so frustrating, man. It's I grew up during the epic collapse against the Canadiens in 1978 or 79. I can't remember. I mean, I was literally a little bit. I was 9 years old, 8 years old, but that's before my time. But then when I became a Bruins fan in the 80s, in terms of knowledgeable, I started recognizing that's part of my lore of being a Boston Bruins fan. Bobby Orr is before my time. Flying through the air against the St. Louis Blues. And then, ironically, in 2017, I think, St. Louis came back and repaid the favor when Marchand gets off the ice in Game 7 at Boston, Game 7 Stanley Cup Finals with 5 seconds left. He's leaving the ice, and I forgot the guy's name from St. Louis. Gets the I can see him right now. Gets the puck in the net, which turned out didn't necessarily be the game winner, but couldn't give up that goal, man. And then we lost by a goal against St. Louis for the Stanley Cup in Game 7. Reminds me of 2013 against the Blackhawks. It was Game 6. We're up with like 30 seconds left by a goal. They pull freaking Corey Crawford, whatever the guy's name was, Corey Crawford. They pull that guy, their goaltender, and they get a goal with 30 seconds left, something like that. And we're dominating every side of the ice, dominating the Blackhawks. And we're like, well, if we win this, we're going back to Chicago. We're going to win the cup because we were just destroyed. The whole series, the Bruins were just in charge. And so you're thinking, okay, well, we'll come back and hopefully we'll win it overtime. Literally 10 seconds later, the freaking was it Duncan Keith? I don't think it was Duncan Keith. It wasn't. It was some run-of-the-mill guy, good guy, but he got the goal to win the cup in Game 6 against the Blackhawks. Literally 32 seconds before that, we were thinking, man, it's ours, dude. We're going to go to Chicago and stomp them and win and take the cup. And then 2011 was the only time in my life that the Bruins did anything it was insane because we came back against Toronto at home in Game 7. We were down 4-0 in the third period, and we came back and won. Insanity. Of course, I didn't watch. I remember, because I don't know if I checked my phone back then, but checking the internet, we were down 4-0. Then it was down 4-1, 4-2, 4-3. Then we tied it up. I couldn't believe it. And I said, there's no way. I was in this house, as a matter of fact. I said, there's no way we're going to win in overtime. We're going to lose. And we won in overtime. Could not believe it. Yesterday we go in, we're down. Again, the Bruins were the best team ever in terms of points in hockey. Now, you got to take that with a grain of salt because the old rules were different. They had teams that had 20 ties, and now, so like the Edmonton Oilers and the New York Islanders and stuff like that, they were still, if they tie, they still got a point. But now you don't just get a point for a tie; you either win or you lose. And so if you win in overtime, you actually get 2 points. So it's a little bit different than it was back then. But hey, be as it may, one of the best teams ever in the regular season, if not the best. It was the best in points, if memory serves. So we're playing the Florida Panthers, who basically gets in the last day of the season. All right. Now, not only were we the best, and they were just basically got in by backed into the playoffs, but we took a 3-1 lead in the series. It wasn't like we got smoked. We took a 3-1 lead, and then in Game 5, going into overtime, it was like a second left on the regular during the regular play, and then and Marchand has a chance to seal the deal, but he couldn't sink the puck. Couldn't sink the puck, and there we go. And then it's even worse. Not only were the best team in hockey, I don't know if they were the worst in terms of playoffs. I don't know, but they were 8 seed. We were 1. Not only did we have a 3-1 series lead, not only we actually had a 3-2 lead. We're down 1-0, 2-1 in the third period, and then we came back and we had a lead with 4 minutes left in the third. Yeah, you couldn't. I mean, what? Is like some freaking omen on the Bruins, other than 2011. It's crazy, man. In 2011, everyone expected us to get smoked by Canucks. I think Canucks might have been the President's Trophy winner back then. It's so frustrating, man. And it's you can't, if the Bruins are playing a Game 7 at home, I would bet everything against them because they're never going to win, other than that Toronto series. They lose. I think last year they lost to Carolina in Game 7 at home too. I think also there was Bruins lost in overtime. against the no, that was last year. Hold on a second. 2000. That's Panthers. We went. There we go. We lost in game. We lost in 7 games. At least it was at Carolina. I can't remember what did we lose in over. Let's see. What was the final game 7? Domi. Remember Domi? Let's see. Hold on a second. They didn't lose at home in game 7. How come we can never win a game 7 at home? How come it's always on the road? I mean, how come the road team always beats us in game 7s? It's crazy, man. I mean, look, I don't know what to do. I had nothing to do. I mean, I don't, why even pay attention? I don't get it. Why does it like bothers me? It's matter when the Patriots, when they lost, look, when they lost, I'll never forget. I stopped watching football when the Patriots lost the Ravens in 2014, I think, or 13, in the AFC Championship, or was it just a divisional game? And I said, I remember we lived in Haddonfield. It must have been 13. No, maybe it's 2011. I can't remember. 2012 or 11, something like that. Let me see. We won the NFC East. So we had a home event. We had home field. Yeah, we beat Houston. I remember that. We played the Ravens in the AFC Championship at home, and we got stomped. And the Ravens went up beating San Francisco. And that was the year after we lost the Giants. And the insanity of Mario and freaking Eli Manning again, and Mario Manningham. This is after the insanity of losing to the Giants in 2008. Oh, so frustrating. So frustrating. Now, thankfully, the Falcons were number 1 seed. Wow, what did they end up doing? Laying a big fat egg. Oh, they beat Seattle. Well, they lost to San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. Anyway, so after that, I just said I can't. It's like I don't know why. I like the guys who play. I root for the guys who play. I root for the spokes. You know what I'm saying? And it's fun. I enjoy it, but it is frustrating when you lose because you're like, man, because it's so like it's just they dangle the keys in front of you and then they take them away from you. You know what I'm saying? You're like, and it doesn't look. I get it. It doesn't change my life at all. But for some reason, I don't want to say it's important to me, but for some reason it's like anyway. So I stopped watching. I said this is not good for me, man. Why do I even bother? You know what I'm saying? And then now I got kids. One kid, my daughter likes hockey. My oldest, my youngest likes hockey. He likes all sports. So I'm back in sports mode, baby. And it's just like, oh, here we go again. So remember when the Bruins lost to the Edmonton Oilers. But see, no one thought they were going to beat Edmonton. So the fact that Bruins were in the Stanley Cup was nuts back in the old days. In 88 and 91, I was in the Army in Honduras and I actually wrote a letter to the Bruins. And they sent me a bunch of gear, which is one of the reasons obviously I'm from Maine, so I like the bees, but they sent me a bunch of stuff. And I wrote a couple letters to other teams too, and no one else did. So the Bruins sent me like a VHS tape. They sent me all kinds of stuff. It was great. Anyway, so Lament for the Bruins or something like that. There you go. But anyway, see you next year. That's the old Red Sox. Collier Scremsey pops out with the base. Was it a guy down by in the playoff game against the Yankees in '78? Pops out. Carl Yaz was up, and they got a guy on third. I think we're down by a run. Maybe even guys on second and third. He pops up. Like, oh man! And I remember that. I don't remember it because we didn't have a TV, but I remember that. As a Red Sox fan, learn about, oh man, I was 8 years old, but then we go to 1986 and the Red Sox, they're one strike away. And then Calvin Schiraldi and then Bob Stanley had thrown a wild pitch before that. Oh, Ray Nightcross. And oh my goodness. And then, Jesse Orosco wins the World Series for the Mets. And they got pitcher Wade Boggs in the dugout crying. Oh. So frustrating. Of course, Red Sox didn't do anything until 2003, and then we get smoked by Aaron Boone, and that was the day my daughter was born. And then after she was born, the Red Sox went on to win, I think, 4 freaking World Series. Now it's like, who cares anymore? I literally don't care. I like baseball, but it doesn't matter to me anymore. All the rich people love the Red Sox. They're all the training guys with the Red Sox stuff, and I don't want any part to do with that. So I like watching the Red Sox on occasion, but. I just know who their fans are, and not anyone I would want to associate with. They wouldn't want to associate with me either. But the Bees is a different story. If you're a hockey fan, you're not those rich elite guys. There's a few. Don't get me wrong. They own the teams, I grant you. But if you're a hockey fan, you're far from rich elite. That's for sure. Which is weird because it costs so much money to go to games. But anyway, there's some upper middle class people who are hockey fans. Don't get me wrong. Hockey is an expensive sport to play. But just listen to my man, the Hockey Guy channel yesterday talking about Here's a video we did a couple of days ago about re-expansion, maybe in Atlanta again, and maybe Houston and other places. And he was talking about why it won't happen in Quebec City and or Hamilton. And he made a good point because they want to create new hockey fans. You know what I'm saying? So like Arizona, while Arizona is sucking wind, like Austin Matthews, if memory serves, he's either from Arizona or California. So here's a kid who's playing hockey who never would have played hockey before. And, like Miami, there's no ice in Miami, but, there might be some kids down there who are being exposed to sport that never got exposed to sport. And that's how you create new fans. And that's it's actually interesting because there's thinking about putting a stadium here in Forsyth County, which is just right up there for me, which would be sweet because I don't like going into Atlanta. Atlanta kiss my big fat behind, especially knowing that they don't prosecute crime. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not going down there. I mean, we'll go to a Hawks game every now and again, and I think once a year we'll go to Falcons game, but that's it. But I'm not going to go down there on a regular basis to see Hawks or the football team or a hockey team. I just wouldn't. But if they put it here in Forsyth County, hell yeah, I'd be up there without question on a regular basis. It'd be fun. It was not going to happen while I still live here in Fulton County because, it's a 5-year process, and 5 years from now we'll be Diddy Mowed. But that'd be kind of fun if they did put one up there. Because even if we lived in North Georgia, I'd come down and see the games. Absolutely. I'm not so sure that's in the process, but there's a burgeoning freaking hockey community growing up. And I don't play. I didn't have skates. Look, I didn't have any money. We didn't have money. So all these other kids have these Bauer skates. My mom got from a thrift shop some freaking girls' figure skates, which I put on, and they just didn't fit well. And I was like, I'm not doing this. So I never learned how to skate. It's even I'm from Maine, but I remember there's a kid named Ronnie who I know, and he had these Bowers, and he used to go to play throughout the state of Maine, all stuff like that. And it's an expensive sport, man. You got to be committed to it. But I've always loved the sport. It's fun to watch. When they let the plays go, and when the stoppage of plays, like, oh, it's kind of like the NBA. There's always a foul shot, but very much enjoy hockey. It's just the issue here is that you're building more and more fans in the South with a presence. A lot of people from the North come down here with my old buddy Josh, and they take their hockey allegiance with them. But the next generation aren't going to be allegiant to the Bruins. They're allegiant, is that the right word? My son likes the Celtics, but he likes the Hawks too. Guarantee if the Hawks have a nice little run for a couple years, he'll like the Hawks more than the Celtics. Guarantee, because it's local. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like when I first moved to D.C. area from Maine. Became a huge Redskins fan, dude, because Redskins all over the place. Trash cans in D.C. were painted with the Redskins. It was crazy. You couldn't help it. Of course, the Patriots back then sucked anyway, but I'm in the midst of the excitement and the aura of the team, and it's fun. And it's like with Doug Williams, we went to the parade after Doug Williams won the Super Bowl against the Denver Broncos. Turns out my wife, I didn't know her, she was there too. Isn't that crazy? We're both there. That's how cool is that? So if the Hawks, or a team down here like the Florida Panthers, you know what I'm saying? Every win is creating another fan. You don't know who this other fan's going to be, and that's a great way to put it. The hockey guy said they want to build fans, even if the franchises aren't successful financially necessarily. They want to build a fan base because the fan base is perpetual and permanent. I said, man, that's a great point in terms of hockey fans in themselves. So, all right, there we go. Bruins, big fat goose egg once again. And I'll come back next year and I'll wear the same spoke B because I'm a fan. And that's the insanity of being a fan. You're a fanatic. You don't know why. You don't know why it feels bad when they lose. It feels good when they win. It doesn't make any sense. And that's proving once again that evolution is fake because we're irrational human beings. We should not be like this, but we are. All right, love your thoughts. We'll see you.